Hi, I'm Joe Chambers. Welcome to Musicians Hall of Fame Backstage. This week is part 2 of James Pankow, founder, trombonist, songwriter, and arranger of the great group Chicago. If you've enjoyed them as much as I have for the past 50 years, you don't want to miss this.
That's when we decided we're going to be us. Screw these clubs. Do we roll the dice and be us and continue to get fired looking for work? Or do we play the game and just do us on the side for our own amusement? So we showed up at the attic. We went on stage with our suits inside out and our hair was long. We let our hair down. And the club owner's at the bar with all his cronies getting his butt kissed. We launch into when I won your love, you were everything to me. How could I be such a fool by Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention? And we carved it. And as we're doing this and getting outside with it, the club owner turns and looks at us like he wanted to kill us. He gets up off his bar stool, walks over to the stage. Mind you, the club is packed. He walks right up to the front of the stage and grabs Walt's pants leg. And he's doing this. And what he was saying is, Walt, you're all a bunch of you're fired. Get the hell out of my club. And I'm going, Walt, what did he say? What did he say? Well, I think we're fired. Walt gets on the mic and goes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a 10-minute break. Everybody chill out, relax, have a drink. You know, the more you drink, the better we sound. As he's saying this, Robert Lamb dives off the stage and grabs the club owner by the throat. The club owner grabs him. They're like this, heading across the front of the stage toward the dressing room. The people in the club are looking at this going, what the hell is this? What's going on? Walt goes, we're going to take a 10-minute break. We'll be right back. Hey, everything's cool. We'll be right back. Have a good time. We'll see you in a minute. We get off stage and go in the dressing room, and they're on the floor, literally trying to kill each other. We had to pull them apart. We pulled them apart. I mean, Robert's a big dude.
I didn't know that Robert was that bad.
Robert's a big guy, and we're all Chicago guys. We know how to take care of ourselves. We grew up that way in the neighborhoods. But Robert's a big man. He's 6'2.5". And, he had the club owner on the floor. Well, the club owner was not, the club owner was fighting for his life too. We separated him and wound up getting kicked out of the club. You'll never work, not only in this club again, but you'll never work anywhere again. You know, Joe, it seems like yesterday. And again, nobody wanted to hear what we had to say. They wanted to hear Top 40. Let's go somewhere where we have a shot at becoming a national act at exposure. So it's either New York or LA. LA makes the most sense because that's where all the studios are, and that's where the rock and roll records are being made.
Is this when Guercio came in?
Jimmy Guercio was, while he was a student, while he was at DePaul, was an amazingly good bass player. And he became a regular session guy at Chess Records, which was probably one of the bigger studios in Chicago. And he'd also be called for pickup dates as a bass player. Chad and Jeremy, the English carbon copy of Simon & Garfunkel, came to the States for a tour. And their bass player got pneumonia or something, got very ill, and had to go back to the UK, and Guercio got the call to play bass. He took the money he earned from that adventure and formed a production company in Los Angeles. Walt called Guercio and said, hey man, we got a group here that I think you might want to hear. We're doing some stuff that nobody else is doing, and I think you might be interested. He went, okay. So he and his manager flew to Chicago. Shula's Supper Club. Our opening act was a snake lady who had pythons. She was a belly dancer with pythons crawling on her. And Guercio showed up. Well, we're playing the top 40, and if you've seen the movie Blues Brothers, where they're playing, their blues stuff, and then the crowd starts throwing beer bottles, and Guercio shows up, and we start playing our original songs. Well, that happened. They started throwing beers and chicken wings, and the cage came down, just like it did in the movie. It happened for real at this Shula's. Yeah, boo, boo. And it was surreal. But we had to play our stuff. We had to show Guercio what we had, who we were musically. And we survived. And next thing you know, Guercio said, just keep doing what you're doing. And figure in about 6 months, coming to LA, and we'll see if we can get something going, in the LA scene. Basically put all our stuff in U-Haul trailers and drove to LA. Guercio had found a little house under the freeway in Hollywood, and it was a very bohemian neighborhood. There were a lot of musicians in the neighborhood. You could always hear somebody jamming. A regular in the neighborhood was Frank the Dope Man. He'd be just like the milkman. He'd be delivering his stuff, going house to house. And my bedroom had been the dining room, and I had to take the living room drapes and put them over the arch between the living room and the dining room to have some privacy. And then I had to put a nail in the door jamb of the swinging kitchen door coming into the dining room so I'd have a little bit of privacy. Terry's bedroom was one end of the living room, and the wall he made was with custom amplifier cabinets, speaker cabinets, blue vinyl custom cabinets was the wall of his bedroom. There was no lights in the house, lamps in the house to speak of. It was all Christmas lights and aluminum foil. That was the lighting in the house. It was great. And we'd rehearse in the living room of that house.
You just said it was great.
It was great.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that.
Great. I said great. It was great. It was fantastic. It was a musical community, 24/7. We were writing, playing, sitting with each other, creating ideas, parts of songs, lyrics. It was a symposium, a 24/7 musical experience.
You were oblivious then to the surroundings.
Pardon me?
You were oblivious to the surroundings. It was just the camaraderie and the music.
Oh yeah, but I think we were all single, 20 years old, a bunch of young single musicians with a common goal, and Guercio had created an opportunity to let this happen. I mean, rather than be annoyed that I slept in a dining room, it was on the contrary. It was amazing because if I got a song idea at 3 a.m, Terry was right outside the curtain. Hey Terry, check this out. And vice versa. The neighbors called the cops more times than I can remember, for disturbing the peace. One time we invited the cops in and they listened, said, "You guys are really good. Hey, just keep it down, would you?" We became the cops' friends because they loved what we were doing.